Thank you everyone for joining us today in the session. Um, I'll start off the session with a short introduction for Indian Road Safety Campaign, and then I'll hand it over to Ivy Rao, sir. Indian Road Safety Campaign is part of Solve Foundation and is working towards creating, making Indian roads safer and focusing on reducing the number of deaths caused by road crashes. To achieve this, IRSC is working with 1,500 plus institutions and 25,000 plus volunteers across 26 states. We work in various domains such as awareness, technical innovation, law, policy, medical, etc. We are also working in close association with Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, State Traffic Policies, United Nations, WHO, etc. Our main aim is to create the scenario of road safety in India, is to change the scenario of road safety in India. The reason why we started this webinar series is that, as you all know, due to the current pandemic, we had to stop all on-ground activities, but we did not want to stop our awareness sessions. So in an effort to bring all the stakeholders of road safety on one platform during the pandemic and create a community of people who are experts as well as people who would like to get involved in road safety, we have started this Journey to Safety webinar series. We have completed around totally 15 webinars up until now, covering various issues of road safety. And we have invited several experts from universities, from healthcare, ministries, and corporate institutions. We've had participants from different sectors and also from all over the globe. Some of our prominent speakers in our sessions have been like Dr. Eva Molnar, who was the former director of UNICE, Abhay Damle, former Joint Secretary, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Piyush Tiwari, CEO and founder Save Life Foundation, Dr. Etienne Krug from WHO. Today, we are going to cover the topic, the influence of mental health on road safety. I first of all would like to welcome our host, Mr. Ivy Rao, sir, who will be introducing our speaker. And we will also have our Q&A session at the end. So people, anyone who has questions, please put it on the chat and we'll take it up in the end. Thank you so much. Ivy Rao, sir, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Swati. Welcome to the speaker for today, Dr. Neelima Chakravarti, all the participants and friends. Good afternoon, or maybe good evening. I'm very happy to host this webinar, 16th in the weekly series on road safety, being organized by IRSC. And today's episode is about influence of mental health on road safety. IRSC has been organizing these webinars with different stakeholders to understand their views and suggestions for making roads safer for users. I would like to briefly mention to set the context. United Nations had declared global plan for decade ending this year. Uh, a decade of action for road safety recommended and recommended 5 pillars: road safety management, safer roads and mobility, safer vehicles, safer road users, post crash response and emergency care. And as many of you would be aware, the Motor Vehicle Act has been modified with a lot of improvements and also increasing the penalty for not following any of the traffic rules. Unfortunately, we still do not have proper evaluation of the accidents taking place every day to understand the actual reasons for accidents, what went wrong leading to the accident. The only records of accidents what we have are the the reports with the police complaints, which are basically made for fixing the responsibility for the accident, and they do not help analyzing the accident. As per 2018 Ministry of Road Transport data, The road accidents have shown increasing trend, and the number of accidents about 4.6 lakhs, and out of which about 1.4 lakh fatalities were there. And Tamil Nadu contributing maximum number to accidents, and Uttar Pradesh the number of fatalities. And one of the concerns is that 72% of the fatalities are with mid-age group, which is the most productive phase of one's life. And about 35% of accidents involve two-wheelers and 24% four-wheelers. Uh, and fatalities also show a similar trend. And 75% of the drivers involved in these accidents have valid driving licenses. Uh, the vehicle users are still not very well aware of various features provided for drivers assist for safe driving. This is one of the gaps which all manufacturers are also working on to, educate the vehicle owners when they come to the showrooms for taking delivery of the vehicles. In case of two-wheeler users, as per recent survey, only 30% of the drivers and 10% of the pillion drivers use helmets. And the fatal accidents also show about 29% of the victims, the people who are not wearing helmets. Same is the case with wearing of seat belts in passenger vehicles. Based on survey done year ago, only 28% of drivers and 4% of rear seat occupants wear seat belts. This also many do not use when doing small trips to nearby locations. When we look back over last decade, India has considerably improved our road infrastructure. The automobiles being made with a lot of safety features at par with what is there in Europe. Awareness among the road users has improved, and the post-accident emergency treatment services also have improved. But India has not seen any improvement in the reduction in accidents and fatalities. So we have a long way to go. The basic question is, why should a two-wheeler user wear an helmet properly? Why a car occupant should wear seat belts? Why a pedestrian should follow signals when on road? Not just for following the traffic rules, but for their own safety. This awareness is still missing. Many of them still think that they have to do this, otherwise, the cop will issue a challan. They don't feel they are doing this for their own safety. Even the severe penalty of, as per the new Motor Vehicle Act, has has not brought any visible change in road users' behavior. We have to work hard for bringing the attitudinal change in the road users to follow rules and guidelines. Last week we had Dr. Kolayan Tien Mani, Professor, Department of Community Health and Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, University of Putra, Malaysia. Today we have Dr. Nilima Chakravarti, Senior Principal Scientist, Traffic Engineering and Safety Research Area, Central Road Research Institute, New Delhi. She is going to make a presentation about influence of mental health on road safety. She is Senior Principal Scientist, Traffic Engineering Safety Research Area in CRRI. She also is a professor for PG courses in the area of traffic engineering and safety division at CSIR CRI, Mathura Road, New Delhi. She is member of various organizations including Indian Roads Congress, Institute of Urban Transport, etc. She's also working with CSIR, collaborating project with Imhans Bangalore, aggressive driving and anger on roads among two-wheelers, right? Two-wheeler riding college youth. With this, I now request Dr. Nilima Chakravarti to make her presentation and share her initial thoughts on the subject. Over to you, Dr. Nilima Chakravarti.
Thank you, sir. So, as you know, my topic is mental health influence on road safety. So, first slide, please. First slide. Yeah. So, first we have the point of discussion in this present topic. As the accidents is going on, where we are actually, there are loopholes, what we have to investigate, where we have the flaws, and we have to find out. That is the point. Point of discussion, understanding the mental health, what is the traffic psychology, understanding the link between the psychology and road safety. Does behavior have an interaction with road accidents? What are the case study related to this? Current road safety scenarios, and can behavior change the individual differences on the burden of road accidents? So right now the second slide, please. Second slide, yeah. So whenever we think what is the mental health, it is the emotional, psychological and social balance of well-being. As we all know, it infects our childhood, adolescent and every stages of our life. And it also includes the surroundings, what we are taking from the outside, from our peer, from our parents, from the outside, and how we are going to handle the stress. And that is, and how we are going to make our choices against the stimulus that is coming, that is uncontrollable, but we have to, what we are doing, the reaction that is under control. So what we are doing, so that also come under the mental health conditions. So mental health is affected by different kind of layers in our personality, like overt and inert personality layers. The person who is looking very well may be having certain kind of neurosis or psychotic related problems, and that can be only done to see the in-depth analysis of the personality. Then a long time analysis of the personality that can be done. And mental health is also have affected by innate and acquired type of personality. Whatever we are taking from by birth is called the innate, and we are taking from the outside, from our parents, peer group and outside environment, and all these kind of things comes from the acquired personality part. Then what is our mental, how it is affected? Healthy, that is the balance between the mental and physical life, that is called the healthy mental health. And when mental health is affected by certain kind of disability in or certain kind of trauma, that kind is come under psychomotor illness or certain kind of mental illness. When the sensory motor, if personality, sensory motor organs are affected by the certain kind of trauma, then it comes under psychomotor illness. Then temporary and chronic illness, when certain kind of problems that occurs and then after certain time it heals, it is called the temporary kind of mental illness and psychomotor illness. Similarly, when this kind of problem goes for a long time, that cause the chronic type of problem. And these are the different kind of therapies that can occur and that can be done to heal those kind of mental problems. Then long-term problems that are obviously the chronic kind of problems that goes for a long time, and some kind of temporary problems that goes for a long time if it is not healed properly. Then short-term our mental illness generally does comes and goes, these kind of things. So next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So what is traffic psychology? Traffic psychology is the area of psychology that studies the relationship between psychological process that is inside our system, our body, and our sense organs, and behavior that is with the psychology linking these two things. Whatever we are sensing from the outside and we are reacting, that is the behavior output. So basic aim is to improve the mobility and reduce accident to educating, training, properly screening, motivating drivers, other road users, and to drive and commute more carefully and efficiently on the road. Next slide, please. Swati, next slide. So we have to understand the link. When we are concerning about the mental health, we have to understand the link between the inner psychological process and over sensory motor behavior. So we have to come to the PEEP time: perception, intellection, emotion, and volition. All of our, I think, know about these four kind of things. But have we ever think that these kind of things, or this time T1, T2, T3 and T4 are actually we are measuring while we are measuring the reaction time of the driver and reaction time of the vehicle. Perception is processing through different sense organ, through our nerves and brain, whatever the inputs are coming from the outside of our sense organ. Intellection is the identification, understanding through present and past experience about those stimuli, whatever stimuli we are taking from outside. Then emotion, that is the judgment of the appropriate response to make towards that stimuli. We have to stop, we have to pass, we have to move, literally what we have to do, what we have to brake or accelerate. Volition is the execution of the decision, whatever we are doing, to the physical action. Then after physical this volition or the execution of the decision, then reaction time of the drivers come, that is T5. And after that the reaction of the vehicle start, that is T6. So T5 and T6 generally we measure while we are doing any kind of accident research, because these kind of things are obvious and before our eyes. There are certain traces of the accidents before us, but we never consider T1, T2, T3 and T4, what happens. And these are very important and minute things. That is also very important things to analyze the accident in depth analysis. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So why we still unable to link the mental process with the outside environment whenever we are doing analyzing any accidents? We are doing wrong way of accident analysis, because as I earlier said that we are only taking reaction time of the driver, that is the output, and reaction time of the vehicle, that comes T6. But we are not taking T1, T2, T3, T4. These are the hidden times for mental processing. And what are these processing? That is very important to consider for any type of accident or road safety analysis. Next. Swati, next please. For example, recently incidents analysis, Indigo pilot killed by the road accident in Hyderabad. So obviously the paper came and the time of accident by 5:20 a.m. 3rd August. Cab driver hit from the backside of the truck. Both were driving on high speed. Whether one or both driver felt sleepy. Truck driver was driving on wrong lane, high speed lane. So he was booked by traffic police. But in-depth causes may not be explored. That is detailed psychological analysis. Whether the drivers were having long time duty, either one or both, before on duty. Whether the visual acuity of both drivers were good or having poor. Because recently, a few time back, we had one such kind of cases where we found that both the drivers were having very poor eyesight. Before accident, they were not having any specs. So visual acuity, one of the important part of accident analysis. Had they slept properly before coming on duty? What were the sleeping cycle pattern of the driver? Whether the driver were under any medication or having mental worries or distracted? Or what the actual situation inside the car before the accident occurrence? Fastening the seat belt, they were sleeping, talking with co-passenger, or any kind of distracted behavior they were doing. That we have no clues. So how we are going to analyze the accident properly before without any kind of certain kind of clues. So we should have proper every kind of clues. After that, we integrate these things and then having the accident analysis. So next slide, please. For integrated investigation approach, we have to do the technical investigation that we are already doing recently in many parts of India. In medical investigation, we are also doing we are very expert doctors who are doing. What we lack still now, that is the psychological investigation, because we do not know the long-term trauma of the individual, short-term trauma, if he had any kind of psychological problem before that, any kind of sensory motor lapses he had, any kind of other problems that we do not know, and we do not know his cycle, sleeping cycle, saccadic movement, etc. So these kind of investigations still lacking in India. So we have to be very careful while doing any kind of such investigation. Next slide, please. So integrated post-accident, why I have taken post-accident analysis, because whenever we are finding certain kind of therapy or we are treating something, we have certain obvious cases. Without cases, we do not have any kind of analysis. So when the accident already happened, then we have certain kind of traces of the accident, what have done. So investigation of the accident collision sequence that we have to study, investigation of the occupant kinetic and biomechanical stress, assessment of physical and mental impact and symptom. Because mental impact and symptoms we do not care. We see the physical impact, we see the biomedical stresses, kinematic stresses, and accident collision sequence still we have lacking certain kind of mental processing or psychomotor processing. Then integrated interdisciplinary report for developing certain kind of thing for integrated rehabilitation solution is required. Next. Next, please. So integrated post-accident analysis includes the documentation of stresses, questionnaire witness and participants, and validation of those things. Because when we are questioning the witness and participant may not be, they are subjective. So we have to go in depth to find out whether there is a similarity between the document of stresses and their witnesses and the opinion of witnesses. Then we can found the exact stresses, or we are nearly exact the stresses. Then accident analysis of injury causation and mechanism. That also include determination of impact and driving speed. That is already going there. But what were the avoidance and failure? What could be avoided? What were the chances could the avoidance during the accident? And what were the failure?
Ma'am, we are not able to hear you. Hello.
I think she's dropped. She'll be back.
Swati.
Yeah, I think she has just dropped. She'll be back. Hello, Neelima ma'am, can you hear us?
Or improvement to do that. But we have to take the effectiveness of the safety equipments and impact and behavior of the person involved. What is the impact, short term and long term, and what is the behavior during the accident and after the accident? That is very much, and before the accident, that's why we have to go pre-accident analysis. That I have not taken, because after post-accident analysis, we will have certain kind of modules for changing the behavior, modification of the behavior. That is very important. So next slide, please. Does behavioral change management of individual reduces the burden of road accident? Yes. If the management is applied in right time and in right way, we can change the burden of road accident, definitely. Second, next slide, please. How? Next slide, please. Here we have one, actually we did one therapy, that is biofeedback therapy. We did on the driver. They were the special protection group drivers. They are very, very high risk involved drivers. They are coming from 30 years in our lab, or we are doing the test, and we are doing different kind of uh, testing. Hello, I am audible?
Yeah. You are
Yeah.
audible.
So different kind of tests we are doing. So actually we did one decision time test, and we did this decision time test. This is standardized test by Vienna test system. We did this test before the therapy, and after the biofeedback therapy, we did again the same test. And we found the responses. You can see the percentage incorrect response among the drivers before therapy and after therapy. It drastically decreased. Similarly, percentage omitted responses also decreased. So we can say that there is certain kind of improvement after the proper therapy if the therapy is given in right time and the right places in modular way. So my next slide, I am going to explain how we have to do. Next slide, please. Swati, next slide, please. So current challenges in India. Current challenges in India, many theories and less research in traffic psychological area. So many theories we have, but less experimental research had been done. Less effort has been done to link with the lab research to the real life cycle research. So that we are lacking in present time in India. In-depth accident analysis is not common practice right now in India, which is required to explore the hidden causes of accident for the development of the target training modules. What are the target training modules? Target training of the target behavior is not still common in India. Suppose a person is having certain kind of speed related problem, and another person is having sensory motor coordination problem. Another person is fearing to take the test. So these three are different problems. If we give the mass random training to solve all of this solution at a time, as such we are now doing and treating, so we are unable to treat the actual problem of the driver, and we are going to drop certain kind of problem. So lack of effort to link the lab research with the actual field research, that we are unable to explore the actual cause of accident. Next slide, please. So target training modules. First, we have to screen the driver on all such kind of standardized test. Standardized test means the validated and reliable test. And after screening those drivers, we have to see minutely what kind of psychophysical trait they are having, or what kind of psychophysical trait they are lacking. Those people who are lacking actually in A point and B point and C point, these should be segregated and selective, giving them the selective target training modules. So we have to apply the selective target training modules. A person is given A module, B is given B module, and these modules should be very, very carefully made for these kind of people. I personally did such kind of training. Five drivers were lacking certain kind of stress related practices. They were failing in the certain kind of test in field and in lab also. So rigorous training for 2 days, they were actually passed, not only passed in the lab test, they also passed in the field test. So now they are in real field duty. So I am happy that I could do something for the nation. So study of the effectiveness of the training module. Validation study is very important. We are doing certain kind of thing, whether we are actually eradicating or reducing that problem is very important. And follow-up study and maintenance of that thing is very important. As we look after our roads, time to time we are monitoring. Similarly, we have to monitor the behavior aspect of the person. Not only one time solution, we have to time we have to again do and rejuvenate the problems solution, so that the problem may not occur again and again. That is our thing, because due to different kind of layers, personality layers, while we are interacting continuously with the environment, we are developing one layer, two layer, three layer, and we are changing our personality all the time. But the basic things may be same, but the other things may be changed. So we have to rejuvenate time to time with training modules, so that the driver can be safer. Next slide, please. We have certain case studies, and I request Swati, if the time is I am taking more, then she can stop me anywhere. So
you have time, you can go ahead.
So this is the study we did in 2010, and we did many more studies, actually more than 20 or 30 study I did in along with my CRRI group, and also I have taken different also groups. So this study is in-house, or sometimes CNP project, consultancy project, some are gap projects. So I am giving all the outlines of this project, not only the outlines. So this is road rage and mitigation measures. Next slide, please. This study was done in Delhi and the outer circle. And generally, what we have found, we have the main objective of this study to find the road rage related incidents, how these accidents are happening, what condition, what the similarity of these accidents, and how what kind of accident happening between the two vehicles, and basically what is the main cause of road rage related cases. So we found that majority of accidents were having 83% in clear sky condition, not any kind of adverse weather condition. So clear sky condition, 83% of cases were doing road rage incidents happened, and maximum was done car between cars, because the ego case, and the maximum cases were having certain kind of compromises between the two individuals. So the police cases were, generally the number of cases are underestimated, because they compromise in between them, and so that the cases 11% or 10% cases generally does not come on the site. Then the maximum cause of the accident was high speeding and wrong side overtaking. So this is again one of the cause that we found during the road race cases. So this was one of the study we did in 2010, and we found this best in-house project award. So next please. So salient finding, we found the traffic obstruction scenario, that is the higher anger provoking among the individual on road. Or traffic obstruction scenario, when we find that our traffic is obstructed somewhere, we are doing a certain kind of discourtesy towards the other people. We do not have patience to see the congestion and find the other problems. Then congestion or delays, goal blocking, that are the common causes. Tolerance to anger provoking situation, that is very less, because we cannot tolerate that anybody will obstruct my scenario or my traffic. And along the long working hours and extreme weather condition, adverse weather condition may be one of the causes, but in this situation, we did not found the adverse weather condition. Next slide, please. So mitigation measures, we found the CRRA participate in Delhi Police initiative to mitigate road rage cases. in counseling, digital counseling platform. We actually coordinated with Delhi Traffic Police with our additional commissioner, Ms. Sundari Nanda, and we counseled the accident road rage victims on our site. There were many participants and many experts from all over the India. They participate in this digital platform. Some were lawyers, some were psychiatrists, some were counselors, some were traffic police personnel. So we did this platform for 5 years completely to mitigate the road rage cases. And my case was actually, my area was to counsel the victim, to reduce the trauma of the road rage victims. That was my area. And others were lawyer and psychiatrist and other side traffic police. They were doing their own area. So many victims were provided help and counseled online on different aspects. And this program was for 3 years, continuously, even after the completion of this study. Next. Next, please. Second was driving behavior and crash characteristic during adverse weather condition. This study was conducted whole for 2 years. Continuously, we did this study on different weather condition. We included the rainy season, the cold weather, and the very hot weather. So how we did complete? Next slide, please. So main objective of this study was to study the visual trait and psychomotor behavior of drivers along with their choice of speed, reaction time, lane driving behavior under simulated and realistic field condition during adverse weather condition. To analyze the effect of adverse weather condition in form of different weather condition, clear, rainy, cloudy, foggy, on operating speed of the vehicles and drivers' vehicle behavior inside and outside, and operating condition. Next slide, please. Swati, next slide. We took 21 commercial driver. As this study was in-depth study, we had to do many factors. We have to study many factors at a time. So we did this only 21 commercial driver we take. These were pertaining to 2 years to 15 years driving experience. They were having same economic status, and they were randomly selected for the present study from a large sample. Next. So methodology, we use the lab study, simulation study, and field study. For lab study, we did the visual acuity, night vision, glare reaction. Simulation study, we did crashing frequency, risk-taking behavior, reaction time. And in their field study, we did reaction time, also the risk-taking practices, and facial moves and road access we also included. Next. This is the simulation study. Next. Next, please. Yeah, this is the video V box we used for interaction. One camera was fitted inside the vehicle and showing the 4-foot coverage, how is accelerating and braking. So foot movement of the actually that was covered. And second, outer interaction with the traffic, that was covered by one camera. And facial reading of the driver, that was covered from one camera. There was 3 cameras that were continuously seeing the speed profile, distancing, face reading, reflex reactions, interaction with traffic. That was covered. Different kinds of this covered by this study. Next, please. So what is the important we have found here, that we did the field study and also the lab study. In simulation test data, you can see the near crash experience average by different age of the drivers. The experience of drivers is seen up to 2 years, 2 to 5 years, and more than 5 years. Similarly, in BWOX data, field data, we have seen up to 2 years, 2 to 5 years, and 5 years and above. So you can see the behavioral traits differences are same. Near crashing experience up to 2 years is same as in the field data. The maximum done the up to 2 years. near crashing experience was maximum done by the up to 2 years driving experience. That are the, because they were inexperienced driver, we can see. But the average speeding in kilometer per hour was seen among the experienced driver. As you can see in the clear, rainy as well as foggy weather, you can see the data in field study and the simulated study. You can see it very clear, the average speeding per kilometer per hour. So you can see the both in there is similarity in the simulated data and in the field data. So if we are doing in-depth study, again I emphasize, so we can found some similarity in the behavior, and we have the validation also, because we can cross-check the behavior. If we do the simulation study and in field study, then we can correlate those results. So next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. Now, poor visual effect. Poor vision affect the reaction time, as you can see here. The driver who have the poor visual sharpness test, they reacted slower as compared to the driver who had the normal vision. It is very clearly, and you can see when the accidents happen, there is millisecond time that can be avoided. When we are doing certain kind of, we have the poor vision, the average reaction time increases. So if we have the proper specs, or we can screen the driver, we can provide the proper specs and give them the ultimatum, you should wear it all the time, then there are the chances to avoid the accident that could be done with the failure in the vision. So next slide, please. Next slide. So conclusion is distracted and searching eye movement among the driver were observed maximum by cloudy, clear and foggy days. During the maximum by the rainy weather, because during the rainy weather, you can see the number of policemen are less on duty. During that time, the driver was very aged and he was doing all kind of searching, distracted movements. And that after that, you can see the clear and foggy weather were less. They were more cautious. And the recorded speed and road signal violation was shown among experienced driver more as compared to the inexperienced group, because they are overconfident. So driver who performed poor for the visual acuity test had more reaction time, as I earlier already said, and weather condition and driver behavior parameters, such as yawning, talking with co-passenger, has shown significantly negative impact on operating speed of the driver. So these kind of things we calculated while inside the vehicle we were going, and one observer was behind the car when we were actually doing the field survey. And also we were taking notes while we are inside the simulator. So this significant impact or effect was found while operating on the field as well as lab study. Next slide, please. This is another case study. Assessment of driving behavior and safe driving skill of heavy vehicle commercial driver. That was in 2014. We did completed this test and a whole pilot study. This was jointly done with CRRI and PCTI Education Society, Delhi, to highlight the psychophysical trait and visual function capability of the heavy motor commercial drivers in India. So we took about 535 drivers. Next. Main objective of this study was to assess the psychophysical traits of the heavy goods vehicle drivers. This test was conducted as a part of this study, focused the assessment of driving performance and road safety skills. 3 movers and packer companies volunteered for this study for providing 535 drivers as subjects and provided the needed infrastructure to support this study. Next, please. The psychophysical factors were evaluated include the visual skill, auditory, biomechanical and cognitive skill. Biomechanical, performing eye-hand coordination, and cognitive thinking process. So next please. Sample was, as I said, 535 heavy local freight drivers were taken as a subject from these three companies, freight companies. We test selected for the present study were reaction time, determinant test, then AVAT test, adaptive telescopic traffic perception test, cognitron test, interaction test, inventory of driving related personality traits, glare recovery, visual screening test, and adaptive telescopic traffic perception test. So that again, I repeated that test. This is the second time, sorry. So we took the tools, that is PhotoClinic, PhotoGlare, and next slide, please. Then Vienna test system. We have the standardized test for DTRT. Next. Yes, certain kind of stimuli is given, and we have to react for auditory as well as for psychomotor behavior and for visual behavior. These reaction, the stimulus is automatically given at a certain speed. We have to react for those things. So conclusion and recommendation for this study revealed the maximum number of drivers were having poor eyesight. This results also, we did this study in 2019, and this study was also conducted visual limitation, another study. So this included more than 2,500 drivers, and we found the same results, poor eyesight. 70%, 50 to 70% were having poor eyesight. So we recommended to go to the physicians and having a good specs for them. The finding of the study highlights a direct relation between the low performance level and poor reaction and motor time. And also highlight that driver who are doing overtime duties, these were the one of the major factor for creating fatigue and psychogenic stress that we found. And this study recommended the urgent requirement of new innovation and design for indigenously developed road accident equipments and road safety training and enforcement strategies and modules. That we handed over to the authority at that time. We also found that in this study, the drivers having poor sense of responsibility, poor self-control, poor adventure, need of excitement, poor honesty scale. These come obviously, as I said, the personality layers that are continuously changing without any incentive, without any promotion, without any type of incentive. We cannot expect that these poor drivers can develop themselves. So we have to rejuvenate their energies and their self-control through different kind of training, and that should be done integrated approach. Next. Next slide, please. This was another study that was conducted in between 2012 to 15. This was also funded by World Bank, and we had a good team of traffic engineers with the traffic psychologist that actually needed for the present situation. So we covered the drivers, pedestrian, police station, school children. We did what are the actually malpractices, what are the availability and non-availability of the things, what are the distraction and risk-taking practices, and how they were aware or not aware about the road safety situation. That all we studied, and we had a very good team. We did this study for 3 years, and very satisfactory. We submitted our work jointly with to the World Bank authorities. And next slide, please. So we find certain type of driver distraction points. We had certain question, and we ranked the opinion of the drivers according to the level of percentage of their responses. So first rank came the cleaning of the inside windshield. That was the cause of distraction, followed by the outside activity, changing cassettes, so a cell phone use, tiredness, medication use, eating, drinking, talking with co-passengers, reading, map direction, and etc. Picking something, distraction by kids, self-occupied thoughts, reading, and indulging in personal grooming. These were the causes we ranked 1 to 13 on the basis of their total opinion of these drivers. Next, please. So we did the behavior intervention and recommendation. So behavior, we have found the risk-taking activities were maximum among 30 to 45 years to 45 to 60 years drivers, and they were experienced drivers up to 20 years, and educated, graduated, and post-graduated. They were violated more rules, and businessmen and commercial drivers. So these kind of people were more involved in such kind of risk-taking activities. So on the basis of their behavior, and also one team was involved in RSA. We jointly did our study, and same stretch we did the study where the RSA was doing the same stretch, the behavior people were going, they were finding the additional causes, what are the behavior points, and then we were joining all the points together and find out the common recommendations. And recommendation were depend on the awareness campaign, on different effective visual aids we did, on the commercial drivers, school children, traffic police personnel, and other road users we also included at that time. So that was a behavior intervention we did for 2 or 3 months, going in different section of the Punjab. Next, please. So as I already said, behavior intervention and mitigation of this study, we did traffic engineering aspect, road user behavior study, joint intervention of mitigation we did. Same. Next slide. Then last, I think this is the last slide. So use of biofeedback therapy for releasing stress and increasing safe performance. So this is only one biofeedback therapy. There are other kind of therapy also available. So it is not necessary that biofeedback therapy if not available with the any type of that time. So we can also include the other kind of therapies. But biofeedback therapy is available in CRRI, so we use this therapy. So we took 40 drivers and we take the DT test. As I earlier said, I have given the earlier slide. So they were male and approximate same age group and economic status. The main purpose was to find out the differences in their reaction time before and after the therapy. When we were applying the therapy, then before applying the therapy, we did one experiment on their decision time and reaction time. After that, the therapy was given. After the therapy, again, the same test was repeated. So we found a drastic difference between the performance level before and after the therapy. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Swati, next slide, please. Hello. Yeah. So how we started? We started installing the equipment that as it is a medical equipment. It is not the general practitioner equipment. It is it is done by the trained group. So we installed the equipment. We received the training by Stupid group, and we selected the sample, administered the test. Then after the data compilation, again we did one webinar with that group, particular Stupid group, to find out the common cause and what is this kind of data, what the data is saying, because data is having certain kind of output. So we have to consult those people, expert group, to find out the common output and observation. After that, we came out certain kind of conclusion. So next slide, please. So training of the current breathing style. Current breathing style was first given the training of the people how you are breathing correctly. Sometimes we do not breathe correctly. We are breathing from our abdomen. So there are certain kind of breathing style. We input and output that should be very correct to eradicate our anxiety. So next, please. Next slide. So this study we did, this is the skin conductance test we did, and this is the therapy. We did a slow music that is given by the system itself, not a filmy music, but it is a slow smoothing music that is giving in the background. There are different kind of therapies, as I already said. In biofeedback therapy, more than 5 or 6 type of kind of therapy is available. If you go to the biofeedback side, you will find more than 5 or 6 kind of therapies are available. But the more you can see, according to the time we have to take this therapy, what is the exact time and people and what kind of things they actually require, what is the actual requirement, that is more important to implement those therapies. So we have to find out the actual cause and why the treatment is given. So we did this kind of therapy. This is the skin conductance therapy. So we did certain kind of modules. We have the other modules, but in this case, we did the skin conductance module. So the driver was taking time and they were happy, feeling happy. Next, please. Next slide, please. So time of DT test, as I said before the therapy, we did some decision time test by the stupid model, and correct response in time, delayed response, delayed correct response, incorrect response, and omitted response. 4 type of responses we collected by the Shufit decision time test. Then next slide, please. You can see after that, then before and after therapy, on time correct reaction. On time correct reaction and delayed correct reaction. Delayed correct reaction significantly reduced, and on time correct reaction significantly increased. Why delayed reaction is not good? Because we are doing correct reaction after the incidents happened. After the accident, we are pressing the brake. So maybe we are doing the right answer, the right thing, but we are doing late. So delayed correct reaction is not good. On-time reaction is always good. So on-time reaction increased significantly after the therapy. That we found. Next slide, please. Next slide. If I am giving overtime, please say me, then I will stop. Biofeedback therapy, next slide. This is saying the skin conductance level. This is one of the indication that we are going on right direction. If that skin conductance level is reduced significantly after the therapy, that you can say is the good sign. As you see in the black, average black is already, except 1 or 2 cases. These 40 drivers average, they have reduced significantly the skin conductance level. So that is very good significance of relaxation. Next. Next slide, please. Skin temperature. Increasing is certain temperature, 35 to 30 to 35 Celsius is a good sign of relaxation. When we are relaxing, our skin temperature increase. When we are having anxiety, you can see your perspiration and other things start, our skin temperature decreases. So during the therapy, after therapy, skin temperature increased significantly, as you can see here in all the slides. That is a good sign of relaxation. Next slide, please. Pulse rate also, as you can see, pulse rate beat per minute should be 60 to 80 in frequency, which also reduced after the therapeutic session, which is a good sign of relaxation, because pulse rate should not be more than a certain 60 to 80 in frequency. That reduced after the therapy. This is a very good sign of relaxation. Next slide, please. So in overall, skin conductance level reduced significantly, skin temperature increased, pulse rate that also reduced, and total correct responses in time for DT test increased. So before session was 73, 83% after therapy. So that is very good sign, and that is the proof that if we give the current therapy, if we simultaneously time to time give them a good therapy, then the drivers will be rejuvenated and drivers will take more precautions. And we have also have to see their biological cycle before going any job or giving any duty, because long time hauling drivers, they are not having any proper sleep, not given any type of good food. Maybe some of the drivers given, not all drivers. So they are having this kind of problem. So we are ultimately the human. We have to take care of the body also before going on any duty. So that is the therapy and mental balance. Physical and mental balance is very much important for giving them any kind of high risk taking job or any kind of small duty. That is all my, I think. And if any query more is required, I will be glad to give you. My email number is also given. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your extremely interesting presentation and explanation regarding the
Thank
the
you.
importance of mental health in safe driving and road safety. I
Thank you.
think these are the factors which we normally ignore, and I think you have brought out really very important issues like what is the condition of the driver when he is driving, the environment, which also indirectly impacts the person, and also the way the roads are allowing him to drive, like what you said, any blockage on road or any undue stoppages definitely irritates the driver and is likely to be erratic in driving. Uh, out of curiosity, I'm asking, your resume mentions that you are working with the Bangalore Institute, NIMAS,
Yeah, yeah.
about the angry driving of two-wheeler, I mean, the college
Yeah, yeah.
students.
We did one study.
So
Yes.
what is the outcome and can you give us some
Yeah,
details?
yeah. In that study, we found that drivers having different kind of, especially two-wheeler drivers, young drivers were having different kind of problems. Like they were having high risk taking groups. We were actually given them on the basis of the test results. We segregated them into the two groups. One were having a very good, defensive mechanism. Another group were having high risk taking groups. So high risk taking groups clearly said that we know that we are doing risk, still we find very, very pleasure to do the high risky job, because again the thing is that they are knowing and doing the thing deliberately, until unless we give them the proper direction that you are doing this wrong, and time to time give them the lesson to guide them. Otherwise, again the personality layer will be changed time to time with the peer group, with the wrong direction, with the wrong media and all things, they will do the wrong things.
The other question I have is, you have done all these case studies which have shown the factors which would improve the response time and etc. of the drivers. But how do you think we can really use this uh, uh, I mean the findings of your studies on mass scale and how the overall situation can be improved?
Yeah, actually, basically, I tried to do all the study along with the engineering groups. So basically, we want that suppose A to B point having certain kind of problem or more accidents are happening. There, our RSA road safety audit group went. They find this kind of thing, accident black spot. There we went and we found the basic behavior problems of that particular site, where they what they are doing, the road user, how they are crossing. So I also have the opportunity to work with the Samartham group, National Barrier Center for Barrier Free Environment, and also the Handicap International. So, and also the we worked with the one of the Ministry of related to that disability, they are treating with that. So we found that maximum group of road user behavior is also significantly important in that particular accident spot area. So we are giving our whole recommendations to the authority. Some of the sponsored work, some of the in-house works. So for that work, we give to the authority and recommend them that you have to do certain kind of thing. So we and that kind of thing we are doing. Also, the some kind of educational modules we are developing or digital platform. As I earlier said, we try to make the aware the people how you are doing the wrong things or therapy, because the drivers are coming for 30 years to our CRRI for these are high special protection group drivers, and we are trying to give them the best training how we can develop and modify their behavior positively. That we are doing. Until date, we find the very good results.
Uh, Ma'am, you may be aware that as per the new Motor Vehicle Act, there are speed limits for different roads, and also a lot of auto cameras have been installed at different locations on the mm, most of the busy roads,
Mhm.
and the people who are overspeeding in those areas, those regions, are being sent the challenge through WhatsApp. What do you think is psychological impact of this on road users, especially the drivers?
Yeah, actually, one study we did with the IIC Bangalore, we put some dummy cameras on one area, and we found that accident goes down drastically for a few days. But as soon as they knew these are the dummy cameras, accident violation again started to do. So we are very intellectual kind of people. We know where to violate the rule, where not to violate the rule.
Exactly.
Now,
I think.
if certain kind of enforcement people are already doing, but the consciousness that we have to develop, even after there is no police, we will not break the rule. That consciousness is should be eradicated under every individual. So for that, we have to selectively and integrated training modules and time training modules for all road users. Time training, however, whatever population we can carry on, that we have to start from the basic. I cannot say that will be effective for the whole population at a time, but slowly it will integrate. Or we have to catch the young population, because younger children, they can teach their parents. If we say that younger children, we catch them, so automatically they will go to the parents. So we have to take the younger population also in our control. So that is my suggestion.
Uh, as I mentioned during my initial remarks, the new Motor Vehicle Act has actually increased the penalty for non-compliance to any of the traffic rules, especially overspeeding or not stopping at the signals, etc. Do you think this would be very effective, especially with our young road users? Or you think there's any better way of controlling this than levying penalties or suspending the license
Yeah.
for short duration?
Yeah, new motor vehicle act definitely did certain very good things, but thing is that new motor vehicle also IT, they have connected the IT along with this. The challan is automatically given. That is very good step actually there. But have we successful for inculcating the safety habits among the people? If we are going to the rural areas or the village, the same person is violating the rule again, because they know there is no one to see that, there was no one to take the challan, no one is to. If we go in UP and other side or wherever the village or other side, maybe we are easily escaping or while doing any kind of violation. So the person should be from a start to end. He should be having the safety measures from school, from colleges, from we have to take those people who are very young. So school, college, universities, we have to give them more power to for doing such kind of training modules, and how to develop those things and go to the general road users effectively, because we have to jointly work. jointly work with the effective training and effective enforcement.
Yeah.
Enforcement is very necessary, but
Yes.
for long time impact, again, only if this effectiveness is not there for only the enforcement.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. The road safety is a very complex subject, and we need contribution from all stakeholders to make our roads safer. But having said that, my observation, this is my personal view, is that somehow whatever rules or restrictions are there, we typically try to circumvent these rules. We somehow get more pressure out of not following the rules than adhering to the rules. Unfortunately, I think this is our psyche.
Yeah.
I personally feel unless we really drive down the message that what they are supposed to be doing is for their good and not for just following traffic rules,
Hmm.
I don't think we can bring in the change. And I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
at a
definitely.
loss to suggest any way how we can really do this. I think
Hmm.
unless that attitudinal change comes in, I don't think we'll. Otherwise, wherever there is a camera, person will slow down and again he will speed up. So it really does not serve the purpose. I mean, for traffic signals also, if they feel that there is a camera, they stop. Otherwise, they most of the two wheelers never stop at the signals at all.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
There's a question from the audience also. How can
Yeah,
we change the behavior of general people regarding road safety to take
yeah.
precautionary measures?
Yeah, general people, we have to actually go to the how we are going connective one to one. So we have to connect one to one. Otherwise, we cannot go to the general public. So how we are catching those? So we have to go again to the school, to the university, to the colleges to catch the young. After that, they will automatically go to their parents, and then their connectivity cycle will come, because once we are going on connectivity cycle, then we are approaching one to one. Otherwise we cannot, in so much populated India, we cannot catch one to one. So if we are giving them a good integrated kind of training module to the young people, to the student, high school student and college going students, then they can teach easily to their parents. So that training is very necessary, integrated type of training.
There is a request for whatever case study presentations you have made. Is it possible for people to access these detailed reports for their
Yeah, yeah,
understanding?
we have the detailed reports. Uh,
Is
the,
it people can access them?
yeah, access on the site itself, CRRI site, crri.dom.gov.in. So
Okay.
that is site. You can any type of study that you can go to the site and find out. In the traffic engineering safety division, behavioral study is there, and other kind of studies also available on traffic engineering part, that is on the with other divisions also. So any kind of report, any kind of studies automatically downloaded in the site, you can find out.
Madam, based on whatever studies you have done about the physical alertness of the drivers and how they respond facially and also leg movement, etc., do you have any suggestion for the vehicle manufacturers to add any devices in the vehicle?
Vehicle,
Vehicle side modifications?
yeah, vehicle related modifications. So we have to
Yeah.
see the road safety measure type of things inside. Actually, the according to one study, I came to know that we vehicle crash characteristics is very poor results in our India. So we have to make our vehicle more safer as compared to those people who are doing the more luxury type of vehicle without having any safety measures. That is very dangerous for a driver. So everything should be taken care of while making any vehicle parts. Even one or two price may be more, but we have to take care of the safety aspect without compromising the other things. So that is very important for safety design, because road safety, seat belts, and also the other kind of things for safety measures inside the vehicle, and recently in other foreign areas, there are certain kind of IT they are using for alerting the alertness of the driver when they are on fatigue, and they guiding the drivers when the traffic is in congestion ahead. There are certain kind of IT is used in foreign countries. So I will suggest if indigenously developed models for IT can be given to the chance to the people who are using our car, so they will be benefited by the low price. So indigenous development is very important, IT related development for safety measures.
Madam, there is a question from participant. He is asking whether you have tracked the drivers who were done that therapy, and did you find any improvement in his behavior after whatever therapy you have given
Uh,
subsequently after
any
the therapy?
any type of which behavior?
No, no, you have talked about some drivers being given some therapy for improvement.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
after your study was over, did you track any of them to see
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
they are still continuing to?
Yeah, we are continuously in contact with the special protection group drivers. Generally, these people are coming. They are ministry from ministry and cabinet secretariat people. They are SPG. So these commandos are coming from last 30 years. We are constantly in touch with them, and what are the people are given improved, and what are their whether they have any minus points. So they are again come to our training center, and we give them the training, and they are again motivated and come. So this kind of thing we are regularly doing. Regularly people are coming, and we are constantly in touch with these people. But again, we are not touch with constantly with the commercial drivers, general commercial drivers. Maybe there are many things we can have this kind of thing in future. So constantly coming in touch of the commercial fleet drivers, but right now we are in the special protection group. Continue constantly they are coming, and we are giving them, motivating them.
Somebody has commented that the driving school should be that start point to teach safe behavior while driving. I think
Yeah,
uh,
driving school. Yeah, driving school. IDTR group. We went there for doing certain kind of vision related tests. But so far we have not come into any kind of proposal for making an integrated kind of driving training module. So again, we have to think over that. All the groups should come into one umbrella, or think for the nation's aspect. We have to do the integrated approach, including all kind of people, including psychologists also. Then we have the integrated approach. So we have this still we have to do.
Swati, any questions from your side?
No, I think we are good, so we can wrap up. If you can share your final thoughts, and Nilima ma'am, if you can share your final
Madam,
thoughts.
Dr. Nilma,
Yeah, thank you,
final.
sir. Any other question? I will like to reply on my email,
Oh,
and
sure.
any people who is interested can contact me. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you, Swati, for your time.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very interesting presentation. And actually, we always forget what is the mental condition of the driver, which many times leads to these accident problems.
Yes, sir.
So I think, I mean, whenever
Seriously,
we are,
yeah, seriously, we should think about that,
yeah,
not
yeah, I
only
think
by,
that's generally
yeah,
ignored. We take for granted that the driver is fresh and alert to all the things. So, I mean, that's the real, especially the professional drivers who are driving commercial vehicles, or people who are traveling in intercity. So, they may be driving for a long time. So, there is a high probability that fatigue may set in, and also along the road we have a lot of issues like sudden traffic jams and other things which also create irritation in the driver, which
yes.
may also create the impact the driver behavior and his response. So it was very interesting case studies you have presented. We are very grateful to you for giving this new angle to the whole uh, road safety study. So I'm sure we'll come back to you for another session after some time with on
Yes, sir.
some other aspect of the driver
Yes.
behavior, etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you.